national numbers. Let's talk about all the potential here with Sean Spicer, the Republican National Committee's Chief Strategist and Communications Director. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Chris.
So we got a big setup for the town hall tonight. We've got new numbers here that we vetted at CNN specifically in Quinnipiac. If we want to show them to the audience here, the national picture, somewhat familiar at the top, Trump, 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 Trump. Number two, Rubio and Cruz swapping, but it's really within the margin of error there. And then you see people still not getting traction below. If you look at South Carolina and Nevada, very similar pictures up at the top. The prevailing theory is, Sean, that Trump gets the nomination unless it becomes a two-man race. Do you buy into that as the variable?
Well, look, I think that if you have to look at it like this, right now we're in February. We're at the third contest in this process. Less than 5% of the delegates will be selected in the month of February alone. You're going to head to March 1st, where you've got 11 states, and 60% of the delegates being allocated in the month of March. So I think that right now there's a lot of handicapping and punditry going on, but I think we have a few more contests to go before we start seeing how this race really takes shape. I understand where people are sort of trying to formulate it now, but I think we have to get to at least March 1st, maybe even March 15th, before we see where sort of the delegates go, because at the end of the day, you still need 1,237 delegates to be nominated, and right now we're talking a total of like 50 that have been allocated.
A sober point that has the benefit of also being true. Well done for you, Mr. Spicer. So now, the two main problems that you're dealing with here with Donald Trump is that maybe in recent at least, we have not had a front runner doing as much potential damage to the party overall as Donald Trump arguably is doing for two main reasons. One is what he recently said about President George W. Bush with respect to the war and 9/11, a reminder for people.
I had to say, I'm sorry, but we weren't safe. The World Trade Center came down, which was the greatest attack in history on this country. So you had that. You obviously had the war, which was a big mistake. I mean, I think few people would say the war in Iraq was a positive. You had him on the aircraft carrier saying all sorts of wonderful things, how the war was essentially over. Guess what? Not over.
Republicans do not go there, and if they do not go there this way. How damaging is this to his chances in a general election or to any Republicans?
Well, I think, look, every one of these candidates has to sort of figure out what strategy is going to get them to the nomination, and then we'll work with them to figure out how we defeat the Democrats going to the election. I believe that when our chances are up against Hillary Clinton, who's potentially under investigation by the FBI in terms of a further indictment, they've already confirmed they're investigating her, and Bernie Sanders, who even most Democrats would admit that they're not ready to take this country into a full socialist mode. I think that that's at least heartwarming for our party as we go into this election. We've got two very, very flawed Democrats that we'll face, and I think each one of the 6 individuals that was on that stage last week and that will take your airways in the next 2 nights will present at least a vision that puts America back to work, that talks about reforming some of the key programs that need to reform, talk about putting down the debt that's straddling so much of our economic growth and revibrance here as a country. So I think that when the contrast is made in a general election, our candidates will be either one of their candidates every day.
So that would be how you would look at it in terms of the typical strategic setup of the race. But with Trump, there's something a little different. You guys had a deal, I use that in a very loose sense, that Trump said, the party assures me I'll be treated fairly. Is it fair to the party for Donald Trump to raise strenuously one of the most dangerous arguments against the party and to bootstrap it by saying, and by the way, the party is rigging the debates against me so that they stack the audience with people who boo every time I'm up? Is that him honoring the pledge to the party to be the best Republican he could be during this process?
Right. Well, let's get back to what this pledge was. It simply said the following: I, candidate X, agree to run as only a Republican and to support the nominee of the party, whether it's me or not. That's it. Plain and simple. Nothing more, nothing less. So this idea of what else the pledge said, it's out there. Everyone can look at it on the Internet. There's nothing more. There's no addendums. It's like 100 words long. So that's it. That's all that the people were saying, is that if we want to run as Republicans, if we want to participate in the Republican-Democratic debate process, we're going to agree that we're only going to run as a Republican. And further, we're going to agree that whomever that nominee is, we'll support. That's it. So any further discussion of this is kind of moot, because that's all the pledge said. Second, with respect to the debate accusations as far as the tickets goes, we issued a memo last night that laid out very clearly who attended those debates, how the tickets were allocated, and the facts, are what they are. Number one, at the South Carolina debate, we had a total of 10 RNC donors there. Out of 1,600 people, 10 people gave to the RNC. That is what it is. In New Hampshire, the number was 7. In Iowa, the number was 16. So the idea that that's, again, take it for what it's worth. Those are the numbers of the donors that were at the debate. The rest of the tickets are allocated to the candidates. The fact is that when they had asked for more tickets going into the debate, they got more. And guess what? You get more tickets, you get more partisans, you get more excitement. That's how it goes.
Sean Spicer, appreciate the perspective as always here on New Day. Good luck to you in the process going forward.